Welcome back. We're here to preview the game on the final day of the Premier League season between Leicester and Queen's Park Rangers. Pascal, start with your home side, now safe after the result last time out.
Yeah, they got a 0-0 draw at Sunderland. They went into that game after that, fabulous run that it was, and they went there, pretty. They weren't, definitely safe, but they're certainly one of the favourites to stay up. And now moved up to 14th in the table. It was a 0-0 draw. They sort of waiting on results elsewhere. The sort of players. I saw at the final whistle. There was a group of players celebrating. Then I think I saw Jeffrey Schlupp come over, and he was like, "What's going on?" And they were like, "Yeah, we're safe." And the party atmosphere, and you have to say, well done to them. It's been a fantastic way to finish the season. You look at the table, they're 14th now. Top of that sort of bottom seven. There's sort of there's West Brom above them who have pulled. That's sort of like the next sort of rung of mid-table teams. So the fact they're now top of those sort of bottom seven sides who are all sort of in with a chance of going down really shows just how well they've done, because before this run they've been on, it looked like they were down and out, and they've just done fantastically well. And you have to say, congratulations to them, and deserved another season in the Premier League just for how some of the results they got in this sort of final 2 months.
It has been a just incredible run, hasn't it? Won 6 of the last 8 in the league, and obviously only lost once now against Chelsea, and I think they've kept 5 clean sheets during that run as well. And it's just incredible, really, the way they. I remember earlier in the season, people were talking about, when people start to discuss who's going to go down, and everyone was saying it's Leicester +2, isn't it? Everyone was saying, Leicester will go down, and then it will be, whoever, QPR, whatever, Burnley, and just they've come from nowhere. Teams sort of tend to do this, don't they? Every season, a team sort of. Not as much as it's happened from Leicester, because they've risen from the absolute depths, but teams do start to put runs together at the end of the season, and you have to give all credit to them. They've done it the right way, haven't they? They're attacking football. Obviously, they mentioned the clean sheets, but they scored some goals. Cambiasso in the middle of the park, great signing, and players going forward done really well. Like I say, won 6 of the last 9, and they've won 10 times in the league this season now, which is, when you talk about a team that's 10 from 37 games, a team that's come up, that's 30 points straight away, and then they've drawn 8 as well. Lost 19, but their away form, they'll be keen to improve on that next season. They've lost 12 times on the road. They have won 4, so they've picked up some decent results on the road. But like I say, to stay up ahead of the final weekend, no pressure, and QPR, it should be a decent game, because obviously QPR are down as well. So there should be a decent atmosphere at the stadium.
Definitely, Obviously, the last time game of the season, and they know they're safe now, so it will be a great atmosphere, like you say. And you mentioned some of their players there. I think Cambiasso proved to be a great sign, certainly a surprising one. I think they call him Leicester Band Cambiasso up there. Quite a funny name they got for him, and certainly I think he's won sort of the hearts of the fans. He's a great talented player, and you wondered, if he'd have sort of that drive, this sort of twilight of his career, playing for never been in England before, playing for sort of quite a not a small club, but one of the sort of favourites to go down in the Premier League, and he's certainly come to the fore. You look at other players like Ulloa, starting from Brighton last season, was great in the Championship for Brighton last term, and they've massively missed him this season, Brighton, and he came in, he's into double figures with 10 goals, so that's a pretty good return from him to get into double figures, sort of bottom half team in his first season. Look at the other strikers, you've got Vardy, who works so hard, Nugent as well, he'll always pop up with a few goals, and I think Kramaric is the one they signed in January. There was talk about, maybe Chelsea being potentially interested in him back in January, but he obviously came to Leicester for more football, and he's shown flashes here and there of, what he can do, but I think certainly he'll want to, improve over the summer. He's certainly just taken some bedding in with the Premier League, but I think, Cambiasso's come out and said, he probably will stay at Leicester next season. You look at some of the other players they want to keep, Robert Huth's been, a good acquisition for them, and I think a lot of the other players, you can't see, they haven't really got any players that you'd say maybe like a sort of top 7-8 team might come in for. You look at someone like sort of Danny Ings at Burnley, Charlie Austin at QPR, those sort of players that really sort of still quite young and maybe really stood out and might attract the interest of bigger clubs. So I think they've got a pretty solid team, and not many players that maybe might command loads of interest in the summer. And it'll be certainly sort of just wanting to build on this fantastic end of the season and start the season in a sort of similar vein next season, so they don't have to sort of need this kind of run, say in the back end of next season. But on the whole, fantastic season for them, and well done to them for staying up.
They should have a bit of money to spend as well, improving certain areas. So obviously they'll face another battle next season, obviously, but like I say, to stay this season is incredible. The team that won't be in the league next season is QPR, sitting bottom of the table at the moment. Last time out though, against Newcastle, they did win. Newcastle went there. I think if Newcastle would have won, that'd have kept them up. So obviously it'd have done other teams, a really disservice. But Newcastle took the lead. It was Riviere, wasn't it, with a goal, and his first league goal, I think his first goal all competitions maybe for the club, and strange goal really, sort of taking it down quite well. He's almost kicked it with both feet, and it's gone obviously over the goalkeeper. And at that stage, you're thinking Newcastle are going to end their terrible run against QPR, which would sum QPR up really. Obviously, they took the hammering against City before that, but to be fair to QPR, they came back. I think the first goal was decent, wasn't it? Charlie Austin whipped a lovely cross into Matt Phillips, who's been quite good in the second half of the season, plenty of assists, headed in top corner. And then Leroy Furs hit an absolute worldie, isn't he, top corner. I think having Furs, because Furs had his injury problems this season, but I think Leroy Furs, I think, will be doing well to keep him this summer, because he's a decent player. Went to the World Cup, obviously, with Netherlands, and had some good performances out there. So I say they are bottom of the table though on 30 points, and to finish bottom, You wonder whether that matters too much, obviously going down, but I think it does a little bit. I mean, you look at their record this season, they've only won 8 times, drawn 6, lost 23 of their 37 games, and see, away from home has been terrible, but only won 2 of the last 12 in the league as well. But like I say, did come last time out, and they picked up some okay results on the road. They had a couple of, we talked about that long run they had, but recently, I mean, they drew at Villa, didn't they? And they've been won at another team down there as well. So had some okay results recently, and if they can pick up a good result here, at least it gives them some confidence for the next season.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing will be sort of who they can keep this summer. They announced earlier this week that Chris Ramsey, has been given the full-time head coaching role, and I think a lot of people said, they've finally done something right. He's a manager who really loves the club, and he certainly, I think, hopefully him being there, they might, approach their sort of transfer and recruitment policy differently. The problem with them the last few seasons, they signed all these players that you think, and when you look at their sort of 1 to 15, sort of their top sort of 15, 16 players, you'd say that's a squad good enough for the Premier League, but it just hasn't worked out in terms of like harmony, team chemistry, that sort of thing, and that's something they certainly need to address. But the 3 players you mentioned from that Newcastle game last week, Phillips, Fur and Austin, being key players in that game, I'd be really surprised if any of those are there next season. I think Austin should really be off. He's proven that Premier League striker this year. He got a lot of goals this season for a team, right down there. And I think Phillips is a very exciting player. He's great crossing the ball, like you mentioned, very very quick down the wing as well. I think Fur, like you said as well, he's a Premier League quality player. So I think those 3 will be off. I've seen Villa here linked with the summer move for Charlie Austin, which I think it was certainly a decent move for him if Benteke goes, because he could go there and sort of assume that sort of number 1 starting, striker role at Villa. But if all those 3 go, it'd be interesting to see what sort of players they go for. Will they focus on necessarily sort of try and promote some players from the academy, youth players, or you look at sort of the players, the teams that tend to do well in the Championship, they tend to sort of sign players that know the division, know what sort of work, how much hard work it takes to really do well in the Championship. And it'd be interesting to see what they do. But I think certainly appointing Ramsey, on that as of their full-time head coach is a good move from them. They don't want to sort of mess around. He knows the club well, he knows the squad well now, and I think it's the right thing to do, because you have to say that it would have been really, if he'd kept them up this season, it would have been fantastic. But I don't think you can really blame him too much for them going down. He should be definitely given a chance, his first full season in charge.
Yeah, it's obviously good news for the club. I think defensively he needs to sort out that at the end of the season. Well, they conceded 68 goals in the league this season, which is quite dire, isn't it, to be honest? You're never going to stay up with that sort of record. Interesting game, really, because this, obviously Leicester are up. If it'd have been a different story if Leicester need the points, you fancy them to really push on, but QPR, the reins are off. I mean, it's not too much to play for, but obviously both sides, Leicester in front of their home fans, will fancy the win. Can you see them winning this one, Leicester?
Yeah, definitely. I think QPR, like you say, QPR, the only incentive for them really is not to finish bottom and just wanting to finish the season on a high. But Leicester, after securing safety last week on the road, they'll want to come back, to their home stadium and really put on a show for their fans final day of the season. Their fans deserve a good game. How well Leicester are playing. They want to give their fans something to shout about. So I think they'll win this 3-1.
3-1 as well. Yeah, I'm actually going to go Leicester as well. You fancy them, don't you, in front of their home fans? I'd say QPR lost 15 of their 18 away games this season in the league, which is never going to keep in the league, is it? So I'm going to go 2-0 Leicester. So we can both see fairly comfortable Leicester wins in this one. Thanks for joining us.